Hello, my name is Michael J. Kavanaugh. Today we're going to look at SIP trunking delivery options. In a previous video, we looked at SIP trunking, defined what it was, and why you should care about it. We looked at how a service provider can offer you SIP over a data connection or give you dial tone over a data connection. We kind of glossed over the data connection and what it really was. In this video, we're going to look at the different options a service provider has to hand you that SIP connection. So we're going to ask two basic questions. What are the delivery options that are available, and why do I care about those delivery options and what the differences are? So let's start with what delivery options do we have available. Today there are three basic ways I can pull SIP connection in. The first one is over an MPLS network. If my service provider has an MPLS network and I've got multiple sites on that, I can run SIP interlaced with MPLS. My next option is I can do SIP with Internet. And I'm saying with Internet because there's a difference than over Internet. So SIP with Internet means the service provider is going to hand me a circuit, let's say it's an Ethernet circuit. They're going to give me SIP on that connection, and they're going to give me Internet on that connection. Since they're both from the same service provider, in this case, that service provider can prioritize the SIP over the Internet connection. Make sense? My third option that's available to me is SIP over the Internet. That's a little different than our last one. SIP over the Internet assumes that I have an Internet connection with, say, ABC provider, and I'm going out to get a SIP trunk from XYZ provider and pulling it over my Internet. And in that world, they don't really have QoS capabilities. Those are my three basic ways I can deliver SIP reliably today. MPLS with SIP integrated, SIP combined with an Internet circuit from one provider, or SIP over the Internet from a different provider. Make sense? Okay, so why do you care about these different models? And let's draw some of this out. So let's take our first example. In an MPLS SIP environment, here's the way that's going to look. I've got an MPLS world with SIP in it, and I've got, say, an office here in Atlanta and one here in Miami. My dial tone for my phones in this world is going to come down my existing MPLS connection, hit my gateway, and ring my phones. In an MPLS world, I've got the ability to control QoS end-to-end. I also have the option, if I lose this link, to fail it over to my other side. So that's my MPLS model. Make sense? Now let's change this around, and let's say I've got the same situation here, Atlanta and Miami, and I'm running SIP with Internet. Okay, let's say I've got my service provider that's going to give me SIP, and they're also going to give me Internet connection. And what that's going to mean is down this circuit and down this circuit, I can send dial tone down here to ring this phone, or down there to ring that phone. And the service provider, in this case, since they control it, can control QoS end-to-end. Since I am SIP Internet, though, I don't have any connection between the two sites, Atlanta and Miami. In order to do that, I would have to go across my Internet connection and build a VPN. And in that case, QoS is out of the window because I'm going across the Internet with that. So SIP and Internet is a good choice if you've got one site, and I don't have multiple sites, where I may want Internet connection and SIP and not really care about my remote offices, such as Atlanta and Miami in this case. Make sense? Okay, let's look at our third model. Our third model we talked about let's say we have an Internet connection in Atlanta and one in Miami, and we want to pull SIP over that. What we can do is come to a SIP provider out here in the cloud and then pull SIP like this. From a QoS perspective, this is the hardest one to deal with, since I cannot control anything across the Internet. There are things I can do to mitigate it by the codec selection, things along those lines, but I have no total control as I did in an MPLS world. So that becomes a problem. The advantage to this, though, is this is a lot cheaper of a model. It's a lot cheaper to pull that in over my internet connection. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, what are the delivery models that are options for you? I can do MPLS and SIP. I can do SIP with internet. Or I can do SIP over the internet. So it depends really on what you're trying to accomplish. Are we looking for QoS control? Are we looking for cost effectiveness? How often are we using the call? Does it matter about the quality? Things along those lines. Those are questions you're going to want to ask to determine which model fits your needs the best. Does that make sense? Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.